And the recording is going to be made available on the Research Software Maintenance Fund webpage. The chat function is disabled, but you are able to submit Q&A questions to the question and answer feature in Zoom. We will provide an overview of the call along with some frequent asked questions. And then, yeah, to raise further questions, please use the Q&A function. If you can't find that, it should just be at the bottom at the bottom bar in Zoom. And then any submitted questions that we will attempt to answer all of your submitted questions today. But if we need to check extra information or we don't have enough time, we will add them to the frequent asked question on the website and they will be answered there. If for some reason you have any questions after the webinar, we have also shared the contact email where you can message us. So I will start with the purpose of the fund. So overall, UKRI Digital Research Infrastructure has awarded the SSI, the Software Sustainability Institute, 4.8 million to support and sustain key research software that underpins the research ecosystem. And the purpose of the fund is to help us understand how to effectively provide support to reduce technical debt and grow engagement. So a lot of our work and our findings throughout the fund, all the way through to February 2028, we will be feedbacking to UKRI, Digital Research Infrastructure. And yeah, this will help them understand how to support research software more effectively. Another aim of the fund is to support and maintain existing research software. So this fund is not to develop new software. And it is part of several initiatives to understand how to more effectively fund software, which is being undertaken by funders worldwide. One of the questions being asked is, can we efficiently and effectively provide maintenance funding across a diverse range of research areas and methods? And this is all stemming from the Amsterdam Declaration on Funding Research Software Sustainability, which you can access if you type adore.software on your browser. So the funding available, we funded round one has closed, and we have funded 12 projects, 13 projects. Sorry about that. Got a bit confused. 4 large awards and 9 small awards. For round 2, we are using the leftover of the fund, which is 1.8 million available roughly, and we're only offering small awards due to the duration of the grant. So we expect to fund approximately 10 projects, although this will depend on the budgets. Should we ask them? Okay. UK research organizations costs will be funded at 80% of the FEC. And there are varying rates of funding for other types of organizational partners, and all costings should be at current prices with no allowance for inflation. So I am now going to hand over to my colleague Anna, who will continue providing an overview of the fund.
So hi everyone, I'm Anna. So I'll try to talk you through the whole process of this round. So not just the expressions of interest, but how the whole process will unroll so that there are no nasty surprises later on for anybody. So as Selina said, we are looking to fund projects that improve the sustainability of existing research software. As particular around reducing technical debt or improving user experience or building community. There is a whole lot of activities that are covered by this. But the main features that we are looking for is software being used outside of the development team or their immediate collaborators, so tools or softwares that are being used widely, where widely is quite a tricky word here, but that they have a stable release. So it's not just emailing few scripts around to your friends or colleagues, but this is actually established tool that is being used by a number of researchers. It needs to be a research software, and it needs to support research that is being carried out in the UK. It can also support research that is being carried out worldwide or outside of the UK, but you should be able to demonstrate in your applications how UK research benefits from the particular tool or software that you are applying for funding for. The fund is open to applications or proposals from all kinds of domains, from all sciences, humanities, arts, engineering, real like any area that you can think of. In the first round, we have seen that vast majority of applications came from sciences and engineering. We would like to get a bit better balance this time. So in particular, we are asking people if you are working on a software or using software that could use some maintenance in the areas that were underrepresented in the first round, do consider applying and joining the call. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So we're saying that this software needs to be reasonably well established and be used. So if you think about how the software evolves over its life cycle, it starts with an idea, right? You have a problem that you are trying to solve. You hack up together something. It turns out to be quite useful, so it becomes like a prototype tool that you use. You might even share it with your collaborators, like, look at the tool that I have. And turns out that that is actually something that a lot of people need. So you might expand beyond your closest collaborators or colleagues to make this widely publicly available. You just put it on GitHub or put it on your website and say, anyone who is working on something like this, have a piece, have a tool. And we know that there are, also that there are a lot of ways to fund this. That when it's the idea or you're trying to prototype it, there is quite a lot of funding in this kind of like innovation kind of work. The Research Software Maintenance Fund looks at the other end of the life cycle. So once your project or your tool or software is already out there and people are using it, you cannot really, or you might have a hard time claiming innovation because it's already out there and it's working. But things that have been out there for like 10 years, or 3 years for that matter, may struggle finding funds to maintain the functionality and to keep up with all the changes in the hardware and in software practices. So this is what we are trying to support. Who can apply? So this is UKRI funding, and the project lead needs to be from UK research organization that is eligible to receive UKRI funding. And this needs to hold for the lead at the time of application. So unfortunately, we cannot accept applications where people expect that they will get hired or they will change their place of work or something like that in the future. Like, you need to meet the eligibility criteria already now when you are submitting your expressions of interest. The person who leads on the application or on the proposal should be somebody who has some senior responsibility in relationship to the software that they are applying for funding for. For us, or from our side, this does not need to be an academic person, or it doesn't need to be a researcher for that matter, not even a current PI or a grant holder for the software itself, but you should have demonstrable link with the software that you are working with. And you should be able to demonstrate that you can impact how this will, how the software will keep evolving, so that if you do changes, those changes will actually end up being applicable for the software. If you have followed the call from the first round, you know that in the first round we didn't have any demand control management in place. This time around, every project lead is allowed to submit only one proposal. So choose carefully. You can, however, be named as co-leads on other applications, but to lead an application, you can have only one. Co-leads can be from other organizations, not just necessarily UK research organizations. It can be from the inside or even outside of the UK. There is a formula that looks at the proportion of UK research or UK people working at research organizations against the rest of the team, which you can find on the fund's website. But you can have collaborators from pretty much anywhere if the number is reasonable. We ask that in the expression of interest, if you know who these people will be, and naming them helps you, demonstrate the capabilities of your team, that you already name them kind of like in the text fields in the application, but there is no dedicated space where you would have to name people, put their affiliations in, provide letters of support or anything like that. So the expression of interest, really, if you know who, or if you are reasonably sure who are the people who will be working with you on your project, you can just add their names to help us with conflicts of interests. But you don't need a full confirmation from those people or any like formal proof until the full application stage. Your application will be assessed in a two-stage process, similarly to the first round. So there is the expression of interest that is running at the moment. And the selected applications from there will be or selected proposals from there will be invited to submit a full application. At each of these stages, there will be a rebuttal process or rebuttal step embedded in the whole assessment process. The assessment will be done differently. So the expressions of interest will be assessed by distributed peer review that we as the management team will oversee. This will give us a score for each of the submitted proposals that we will then rank. We will consider the rebuttals that will come from the applicants, and based on this, we will choose the applications or the proposals to invite to the full application. And the full applications will then be reviewed by a panel of peer reviewers that will be external to the whole process and to the fund. These panels, one or several, depending on how many applications we will actually have, will categorize the applications into 4 groups. So there will be excellent, good, adequate, and unsatisfactory applications. We will rank the excellent applications in order by their scores. We will again give you the chance to rebut anything that is in the reviews, and the panels will take these rebuttals into consideration to come up with the final ranking and categorization of the applications. And then we will fund the highest ranking applications pretty much, and keep going through the excellent group. If we fund every excellent application and there is still funding left, it's brilliant. And at that point, we might employ lottery over the good applications. The information that you share with us in the application will be obviously shared with the reviewers so that they can review and rank your applications. In the full application stage, we will likely have early career observers participating in the panels. Well, they will be observing, not really taking part. So they will get to see your applications as well. And because UKRI might decide to send an external evaluator, they might need to see parts of or some selected applications as well. All this will obviously happen under confidentiality agreements. So what you put in your applications will be kept confidential and limited to only the people who need to see that. We might use some parts of your applications, typically the summaries or the vision statements, to promote the fund or to report on what the fund has done or the impact that we have. We will obviously check with you first and make sure that whatever we are publishing doesn't contain any confidential information that shouldn't get out. One of the biggest changes that you might have already spotted from the first round, a new thing that we are introducing in second round, is the distributed peer review for the expressions of interest. So when you submit your expression of interest, that submission already carries your agreement to participate in the distributed peer review. So in distributed peer review, people who apply, so the applicants, will then become the reviewers themselves. So all applicants will receive some proposals to review. We are still doing some modeling, but it looks that on average it will be around 7 proposals for each applicant. And they will be expected, or you will be expected at that point, to carefully read the assigned proposals. Obviously, let us know about any conflicts of interest that you may spot, but then to rate them and provide feedback to the applicants. For that, we will provide you instructions and guidelines, and there will be a set of rules that will tell you how to rank, how to score, how to provide good feedback. If you have already tried the expressions of interest, you know that it's quite short. It's less than 3,000 words in total. So we do not expect that reviewing even the 7 proposals should take you more than 1 working day. If you feel that you would like to apply for funding, you would like to submit your expression of interest, but for some reason your situation doesn't allow for you to take this time to participate in the distributed peer review, please do let us know as soon as possible, and we will see if there are some arrangements or some support that we can put in place so that you can still send your expressions of interest and help as much as possible with this. There are 2 more rules or terms for this. So if you fail to provide the reviews that you were assigned, we will have to remove also your expression of interest from the consideration. And if we find out that or if it turns out that somebody submitted like set of reviews that are consistently of poor quality, we'll obviously reach out to and try to work with you to get better quality reviews. But if the process somehow doesn't resolve the issue, we may need to remove your application or your expression of interest as well. We hope that it will not come to that. The expressions of interest, but also the full applications, will be assessed against the same set of criteria. And these are very similar to the assessment criteria also from the first round, mostly because the fund assesses the same things throughout. We would obviously expect that at the expression of interest, you will give like higher level idea, or you will not necessarily provide all evidence, but in the full application, all claims should be evidenced, and all processes should be properly thought through. So the criteria are the eligibility. So you should be in scope and eligible to receive funding from us. So you should be proposing work that will maintain research software. You should have correct or appropriate relationship to the software and all those things that we already discussed. We will also assess your vision and the impact that the envisioned work would have. And by the impact, we mean both the impact on the software. So if we refactor the code, this is what will happen. But then also we would like you to comment on the impact that the improved software would have on the research community. We will be looking at feasibility and approach. So do you have a plan to deliver your vision and to deliver the impact? For the expression of interest, you can kind of eyeball it. So you are applying for up to 1 year of time and up to £150,000 of funds. So think about what you can do with that, or how much of that you would need to deliver your vision. At the full application, obviously, we will want to see the budget, but not at the expression of interest. At the expression of interest, it's enough if things sound reasonable. The last thing that we will be looking at is your ability to deliver. So does your team have all the skills and abilities that you will need, or do you have a plan to get those skills on your team to deliver? Do you have procedures or processes to manage a project of this size, to deliver on the maintenance and the development? Do you have a plan on how to engage with external stakeholders, external community, external users? Yeah. So specifically in the expression of interest, this is broken into 4 sections, and you will get some checkboxes just to confirm that you understand what you are getting yourself into, but then some text fields where you can talk about how mature your software is, to convince us that you are at the right stage of the life cycle of your software, that you do have a user base to match the impactfulness, that this software really does support UK research. There's a section on the vision and impact that has slightly more space. So there is a section for the context of your work, the motivation, that says, what is the problem that you are trying to solve? What is the need that motivates this work, and your vision to address this? And then field where you can tell us about how implementing this will solve the issue and what the benefit will be, whether this will help future maintenance, so whether the impact will actually last, advancement of good research practices, will you build community that will keep using this software? And we have another dedicated field for you to tell us about EDIA considerations. We understand that this is very varied field, that some tools and software have done a lot of work on this already, and some are only starting to think about it now. So there is no right or wrong answer. What we are looking here for is you assessing where you're at. Like, have you even considered this? To what extent? What have you done already? What is in place to support EDIA considerations? And then think about the improvements that you could do. So these improvements or these considerations should be kind of like a core part of your plan delivery under this fund as well. So think about where you're at, what are the next main things that should be addressed, and how you can build it in the program of your work. The feasibility and approach, again, has 2-part section. The first one focuses on the actual work that you are proposing to do. So what are the objectives? What are the activities that will deliver those objectives? Do you have some thoughts on how you will measure that the work is progressing to ensure successful delivery? And a smaller paragraph on how will this be built into the software sustainability? So are at least some of these activities looking at, establishing a roadmap for the software or business plan, or are these activities already meeting or running along the roadmap? And the last section is looking at your team and what the team can deliver, and also how it will be managed. In the full application, we will be looking again for the same things, but we will expect more details. So we will expect more detailed description of the activities, better formulated milestone. We will be looking at work plans and check that the activities are in the correct order, that things align and deliver the right way, that you have proper metrics, but not in the expression of interest. In the expression of interest, it's enough if you give us an idea of what you have in mind. In the full application, we will also look at full budget and justification of costs, including in-kind supports and like proper full breakdown, to make sure that the fund can pay for all the things that you have in mind, and that all those things together will deliver. In the full application, we will ask specifically what people are involved in the delivery as much as possible, and that these people really agreed to work on this with you. We will also want more details on expected outcomes. So what are the actual things that you plan to deliver, as well as evaluation strategies, including performance and success indicators. We appreciate that this might be a bit unusual, but remember that we are funding across all kinds of sciences and all kinds of areas, and we are quite aware that different fields and subfields will use significantly different indicators. So we don't want to impose any particular metric onto you, because there is not the one metric that would work for all the projects. So you think about what is commonly used in your field, or what you think that actually indicates that your project is successful, and you tell us that and convince us that that is the right way to measure your progress. We will also be asking for a detailed EDI statement. Remember that in the expression of interest, you have only 250 words, so that's going to be a really light touch. But we will want to see proper evidence that things like equity, diversity, inclusion have been properly considered in your work. We will also be asking about your demographic information. This is completely optional. This will not be visible to the reviewers at all. This in no way factors into the awards or decisions. We are asking this information for our monitoring and evaluation purposes, for how the fund is performing, who applies and who gets the funds in the end. So we will be asking about your career stage and role, about your gender, ethnic group, and if you have any disabilities, impairments, conditions, or access needs. All these questions are fully optional. You can skip the whole section if you wish so. You can skip some of the questions. You can answer the questions, and if you change your mind, you can always go back and say, I prefer not to say, and just switch your answer to the nondescript answer that doesn't reveal anything about you. We would like to know, obviously, because it helps us evaluate the fund. But we also understand that not everyone wants to share this, so that is fully up to you. How to apply, the exciting stuff. So we are using platform called GoodGrants. And so if you go to digitalresearchinfrastructure.grantplatform.com, you will be able to log in if you already have an existing account, or you can register to create a new account. If you follow that link, you will see what's on the bigger picture on the left. So you will see some logos, a login box, and quite a sizable text field that gives you a lot of information. So this platform is shared between a number of funding opportunities that are managed by SSI and also by the University of Edinburgh. So you will see several different logos and information about different funding opportunities. Feel free to have a read through, see whether there's anything else of interest. If you just keep scrolling down after all the text, you will eventually get to the list of currently open funding opportunities. So that's what you see on the smaller picture on the right. You are looking for the one that has SSI logo with the Research Software Maintenance Fund ribbon, and you just click the Start Application. If you are already logged in, it will just bring you to the beginning of the application form. Otherwise, it will force you to go through the login process. So you just type your email and go through that. If you happen to close your windows and reopen them and go back to the digital research infrastructure the whole link, as long as you haven't logged out, and if your cookies still remember you, you will get to the GoodGrants homepage. So that's the picture on the left. Um, what you might not notice, or what is not particularly well visible, is that there is a bunch of buttons or tabs on the very top, so in the gray line, where it says Software Sustainability Institute, and there's a picture of the little house. You want to be in the Apply tab. So sometimes you might see more or less than I see on my view. But if you are looking for your application, or if you're looking to start the application, make sure that you are in the Apply space. Again, you will see all the calls that are currently open. You are looking for the Software Sustainability Institute one. Below all this, there is what we call the My Applications space, where you will see all your applications. So if you have started something in the round one, or if you tried for some other funding that runs on the same platform, or if you have 1 to 7 started expressions of interest for the second round, you will all see them listed in the My Application space. There are a few buttons that will help you, that will allow you, to copy your application or delete your application if you are no longer liking it. So that's there. That's also where you will find reviews or comments on your application. So if you log back in once the reviews have been done and published, you want to go to your application, and there will be attached to the application that have been reviewed, there will be like view feedback or something like that. That's where you can find it. And it's scrolling like 2 pages down on the home page. Once you start your application, you will see what you see on the right picture. So there is a big title that tells you that you are in the right place. So Research Software Maintenance Fund Round 2 Expression of Interest. You will need to name your application. So you need to type at least something in the application's name. And from that point on, the system will keep track of your application, and it will keep auto-saving it every like 2 or 3 seconds. You can always go back and change that application name so it doesn't become fixed. So you can just put there my application and go on with that. There are few basic questions on the first page that will just help us separate the applications into their respective research areas. And then what you see on top above the title are 5 tabs that map onto the 4 criteria, for the 4 assessment criteria that the fund is assessing, and the demographic data. Your app is active. Once you gave it a name, you can just switch through the tabs and go wherever you want to go, or you can just move through the application with the Save and Next button and do it all in order. You can save and close. You can preview what you have put in your application, because the text fields allow you basic markdown abilities. So if you want to format things pretty, you can see how pretty it's actually looking. Once you have filled all the mandatory or required fields, you can submit your application. You cannot submit it earlier. They need to be all in. When you submit the application, it will become submitted, but it will not close to editing. So you can always go back and amend application that you have already submitted all the time until the closing date of the expressions of interest, and then also in the full applications. So even submitted applications can be changed, tweaked, amended, whatever you please to do with them. You cannot unsubmit an application. Once it's submitted, it's submitted. But you could go to the My Application space, you could copy that application, the copy would become in progress and not submitted, and then you can delete the submitted one. So there are workarounds for almost everything. Word of caution. So there are the text fields to talk about your vision or talk about the impact that your work will have. And there is restricted word count that you can insert. And we know that the counter that shows you how many words you have typed is sometimes miscounting slightly, especially when you use hyperlinks. That seems to be the trigger. They may undercount. So it might be saying that you typed 498 words, and it will not let you submit because, in fact, you have typed 501 or something like that. The applications platform is working on it. They may fix it any moment. They may not fix it for the expressions of interest. We don't know. So if that is an issue that you run into, that it seems that you should have everything, within limits, and it's not submitting, it is very likely that you just went a word or two over the count in one of the boxes. You can just pull them out in a text edit or something and just count them there. So it's the display counter that counts wrong, not the counter that is actually allowing you to submit. There. Submitting and withdrawing applications, we have mostly covered. So remember that you can submit only one application in this round. So if you submit an application and then you change your mind, you need to withdraw, delete that submitted application to submit another one. The platform autosaves, so all changes that you make take nearly immediate effect and they get saved. You do not need to resubmit applications even if you make changes to them. These changes will take effect also on the submitted applications. Yeah, and remember that the My Application space is sometimes a bit hidden, but it is there. Look for it. If you run into any issues with the platform, you can always email us, and we can try to help you, or we can raise it as a support query with the applications platform. Don't let that stop you, please. That's it from me. I'll hand over to Giacomo, who will talk you through what happens once the projects get funded, and then we will move on to the questions.
Great. Hello, everybody. I'm Giacomo, based also at Edinburgh, and I will be in particularly taking care of the contractual part of the proposal. From once the proposals are funded, are successful, until they signed a grant agreement. So, yeah. The earliest start date for projects from round 2 is October 2026. All projects must complete by 29 February 2028. No cost extensions are allowed as long as the project are completed by February 2028. We follow standard UKRI financial and reporting practices. Project must provide an outputs management plan no later than 1 month after the start of the award. There is a template for this which is published online. Reporting is quarterly against grantee defined indicators, as Anna was explaining, using our template. Invoicing is also quarterly in arrears for actual cost incurred. And these are all standard UKRI practices. At the end of the project, we require a final report covering achievements, outcomes, challenges, and future plans. All intellectual property remains with the project, but we do encourage the use of open licenses. Next. So a bit of timeline and key dates. The opening date for the expressions of interest was 28th of January, and the closing date is 25th of February 2026 at 4 p.m. Distributed peer reviews will be completed by 20 March at 4 p.m., followed by a rebuttal period on 25-26 March 2026. Invitations to full proposals will be sent in mid-April 2026, with a closing date for full proposals in mid-May. Rebuttals for full proposals will take place in early July 2026, and decisions will be communicated in July 2026. Next slide. Finally, the webpage for RSMF Round 2 contains guidance, templates, terms and conditions, grant agreements, and frequently asked questions. That's at that address there. You can reach it from the SSI website. For questions, email grants@software.ac.uk. Somebody will reply as soon as possible. And there are also in the slides some useful UKRI links. One for Arts and Humanities, REMIT, and one for the Social Science, REMIT, and one for eligible costs for UKRI funding. And this is it in terms of our presentations. We will now take and answer some questions.
Thanks for your patience. I just couldn't find the unmute button. So we will try to go through the questions.
Many questions are about the distributed peer review. Maybe we give a bit of our reasoning behind.
They've already answered that.
Already answered. Okay.
So I know that Selina has been answering for the past hour all the questions. Where do I find them?
Q&A button. So the first one is found.
Just bear with me. I'll sit next to Selina.
Do you see it?
No, so there is a question about the capability to deliver section.
Just whether there is a possible mistake in the form. Happy to restate those mechanisms.
Sorry, I can parse the question so fast. If that's okay, I will move to the questions that I can actually read and understand, and we will get back to this probably in the terms and conditions or report. Yes, no.
Frequent asked questions.
Frequent asked questions.
Mhm.
How does the work with the resubmitting from round one? I think so. This small bits got invited last time.
So the question reads, how does this work with those resubmitting from round one? I think 70 small bits got invited last time from Thomas Gatner.
So we do welcome resubmissions from round one. The form looks a bit different, so you will have to rework your answers to match the current form. But in principle, unless in the first round we said that this is not eligible for the fund, you are welcome to resubmit. I hope that answers it. So we will not be like automatically inviting people who already submitted last time, but if you do want to resubmit, you are welcome to do so. Did you answer that one? The next one?
Not this one.
No.
UK research benefit.
Okay, UK research benefits mentioned two places in the application: software maturity and the context and vision. Are you looking for different information in these two sections? So in the first context, so for the software maturity and UK research benefit, we are basically asking, is this eligible? So does UK research benefit from this software being in existence and in use? While in the context and motivation and vision, it's gonna be slightly shifted more towards what will be the benefit to UK research if this work gets funded. So it's more about how is your vision beneficial, like in the future? If that makes sense. If not, then just ask more questions to follow on. I'm trying to find the.
I'm just replying to this.
Okay. So in section benefit, are we from Milto? Are we stating how the software benefits the community or how the software will be benefited from the funding? What is the wording?
In section benefit.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just fetch. We would be looking for both in principle. I'm just not sure whether it's in that section.
Yeah, we can.
If you bear with me, I'll find what precisely is
Okay.
the wording.
I'll move forward. So I can see Giacomo is answering a question from Faustina. So I'm going to move to the next one. Can you, from Abu Sid, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name. Can you explain a bit more on what is expected to be included in terms of evidence of how we will measure the progress of the project, please? I think this is related to how you will manage the project and what are the milestones that you're expecting to achieve in each stage.
With the caveat that the different areas or different fields will have different measures. So it's up to you to explain what is relevant measure for your project and for your work and measure against that.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is Vivian Tong. Can external contributors to an open source software package, that is active contributors, maintainers, but not part of the main development team, apply to lead a project? I think you can, but we prefer people who have been involved in the creation and development of the project originally. I think, however, if you can demonstrate why these are the best people to lead the project, then that could be considered eligible.
Yeah, I think in the past things like handing over the leadership on a particular tool or package was perfectly okay. That's like bringing up new collaborators to become the future leads would be perfectly fine.
Okay. A question from Tom Gibson. Is there a matchmaking service of any kind for PIs looking for RSE support? We have a team of RSEs within NIHPC who would be happy to partner with people and can be costed into grants if PIs need RSE support. So we don't run that service, but I think that's a great idea. And I have already seen a few people actually looking to hire RSE support. So Tom, would you be able to send us an email? And for the people who have asked about this, could you also send us an email and we'll put you in touch? And then I have a question from Bronzio. Can the fund be allocated to help pay postdoc salaries? And can the funding be used for hardware upgrades that might be critical for scaling software performance to serve more users? So for the first one, yes, you can. Again, it is up to you to justify this properly in your application. And about the funding being used for hardware upgrades, can the funding be used for hardware?
I think that depends. Hardware is in principle eligible, but that should not be. I mean, you would need to carefully justify how this benefits the maintenance. Yes.
I was replying. Which question is this?
Is Bronzio?
Okay, can the fund be allocated to help pay postdoc salaries? Yeah. Can the fund be used hardware upgrade that might be critical for scaling software performances? Can I reply?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a matter for eligible costs. It is explained somewhere in the UKRI guidance. Hardware like laptop computers need to be specialistic, need to be justified by the activities of the project. For example, you cannot use these funds for buying regular laptops for the team. These costs generally are covered by the overheads at the university. So I would say that what you describe in this question, yes, could be an eligible cost. You need to make the case for that.
Have you muted?
Yeah.
Anna, do you want to? We're going back to question about the section benefit.
Yeah, so in the section benefit, I mean, there are sub-bullet points, and those are the ones that you will be actually assessed against. So I'm not sure that became particularly clear. So when you are in the application form, and there are the different text boxes that tells you in 500 words tells us about your vision, there are like bullet points on the side that explain what exactly we are looking for, and those are the questions, kind of that we will be assessing the answer against. So reading those will probably answer a bunch of questions. But in the benefit, it is the benefit to the software and the usability, or like applicability of this. Applicability is not the right word, but how the work that you are doing will benefit the software and improve its use. The kind of how that will impact on UK research will probably be more in the vision part. Okay.
Okay, I have one from Chang Fu. With regard to the DPR, could you please clarify how you would ensure that reviewers remain unaware of the identities of the applicants whose EOIs they are assigned to assess?
So we cannot do this as a blind reviews because we need to ensure conflicts of interest, and we can take care only of the constitutional conflicts. There is no way for us to know whether you might have worked or have some collaboration with somebody, kind of like on individual level. So we actually need the reviewers to know whom they are reviewing so that you can declare your conflicts.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we have a looker? Something for revitals on the expressions of interest. There is a major tech conference over the 23rd to 26th of March.
Which
Do email us, please, with the clashing date and the event that is colliding with the rebuttals. If you email grants@softwareac.uk, we will assess how big of an issue this is. We don't expect the rebuttals to take all that long, though we appreciate that people may want to spend some time thinking about that. But if there is a need, we will probably be able to shuffle it by a couple days. But if you can do it as soon as possible, so that we can announce any change to the dates, kind of like.
We'll review our timeline and then announce any changes. Giacomo's replying to that one. We've got one from Visa again. Is there a list of eligible items that can be funded in this call? Postdoc, PI, travel, computer.
Is that on the UKRI website?
Yeah, there is maybe even in the
Is that
eligible costs. There is a link there in the slides, and yeah, there is more guidance on UKRI websites, on our website, and if you are in doubt, send us a question.
Okay, from Matthias, is having a suitable developer on the team a good thing, or are we, from an HR EDIA point of view, expected to advertise?
You can have whomever you want on your team. If you can name a person because you know of somebody who is already familiar with the software or anything like that, you can name them and explain why they are the right person for the job. If you don't have anyone, you obviously can advertise and hire and leave that person kind of like unnamed, like we will have a developer, without specifying who they will be.
Giacomo's answer that one. Please, can you confirm the 100 FEC pricing available?
So we are funding at 80% because to the, what is the rule, that the UK research institutions get funded at 80%. If you have collaborators who are third party or international or something, then the rules are different. UKRI, so we follow UKRI guidance. So if you find the UKRI guidance on this, then you can cost things at different rates depending on what type of organization or kind of recipient they are. If you have doubts, email us with the specifics, like whom you are trying to fund at what rate, and we can answer that, or our finance team can answer that. Okay,
Okay.
Daniel.
If the project aims to integrate multiple software packages into an existing platform, will the criteria about usage, development stage, etc. apply to all these packages or only the platform the packages will be integrated into? I think it would apply.
I think it would apply to the main platform, the main pack. Not I think it will apply to the main platform or the main package. And if you are integrating newer things, then obviously they are going to be newer things. But you should explain which platform or package maturity is the most important one,
Yeah.
and how embedding the others into that will benefit.
Yeah.
Check comments
Yeah.
on that.
Mhm.
I can see no budget estimate.
So we have a few more minutes. We're gonna try and get through more questions, but if we don't have time, please email us at grants@software.ac.uk, or if we haven't replied to your question properly, or you have more questions from that, then please email us as well. So we have this one from Wen. In the EOI, as far as I can see, no budget estimate is required. Is that correct?
Yes, so the only requirement there is that you fit into the £150,000 that we can give you. Full budget or so will be needed in the later stages.
Also,
Okay.
also just to clarify, I made a mistake earlier and I said 6 months. Up to 6 months is actually up to 12 months. Apologies, everyone. I was typing manually. Okay.
With proposals that are aimed at updating the software engineering on a project in order to put in a more easily maintainable state, be likely to succeed, or would new functionality be expected? No, so new functionality definitely would not be expected and is not required in any way. The funding is for
Maintain it.
updates and maintenance.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
So is that one?
Oh, okay. Giacomo's replying to that one. Liam, is software maintenance restricted to refactoring, testing, etc., or is novel development permitted? Yeah, we have software that is missing key features, and this is limiting uptake within the community, but it's unclear if this would fall under the remit.
Limited novel development is possible, but it would be up to you to justify in your application how this is going to actually improve the maintainability.
The sustainability of
Sustainability,
your
thank you.
project. Yeah.
Yeah, so allowed, but with proper justification. Giacomo is getting Irfan, so
Irfan's
Owen.
Owen Jones. If an established software is used now by collaborators directly linked to the development team, would you consider projects where the goal is to support making the software available to a wider audience?
No, that's a different kind of funding. That would be, it's like impact accelerator funds and that kind
Yeah.
of things. Sorry.
Okay, no. From Victoria, please could you elaborate on the difference between the benefits mentioned in context, motivations, and visions, and the benefits you want mentioned in the benefits section?
I think we've been over that, just the swap of the previous one, right? So in the benefits section, it's the benefit to the software and the software sustainability, maintainability, while in the context, motivation, and vision, it is how this work will bring benefit to the UK research.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
From Manolis, how do you view proposals where the main sustainability challenge is maintaining an open, widely used research platform, even if not all of the underlying code is fully open sourced or an algorithm that others will benefit in the traditional sense? Would that sit within the scope of research software maintenance?
Well, if the challenge is maintaining an environment or a platform, then that's okay.
Yeah, I think
we do not have a firm requirement that everything needs to be open sourced. If there is
No.
a reason why things are not, then they are not.
I think if potentially if you could email us with more information, we would be able to provide you a better answer. Okay, we are at 2 p.m.
Okay.
and we have a few questions that we haven't been able to answer. We apologize for that, but we will finish answering them and we will publish all of the questions in the frequent asked question section of the website without your names, obviously. So if there's anything that we haven't got to today, we will be putting the answers there. But if your query is urgent, you can also email us and we will try our best to reply to you quickly.
Thank you all very much for joining us today. We hope that you found this informative. Remember that this was overview of the whole process, and we will be releasing specific information at every stage. So when we get to the distributed peer reviews, or shortly before we get to them, we will send you information about, you know, this is what's happening now, this is how you do it. So don't worry in case you have like a gap in some of the future steps, more information will come. For now, expressions of interest, we wish you all the best of luck. And as Serena was saying, yeah, email us with questions or keep an eye on the frequently asked questions. We will be circulating the
we'll also be
recording and
circulating the
everything.
recording, so keep an eye out for that as well on your email inboxes. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.